Happy Thursday, people. Happy Thursday. It is Therapy Thursday. I am Dr. Tree. You know me. I'm a licensed psychologist in Atlanta, Georgia. I speak with this beautiful accent because I'm from Dominica in the Caribbean, nature island of the Caribbean. Come on in, y'all. Come on in. Y'all know every Thursday in our Trauma Transformers tribe, we do Therapy Thursday. And because I've been gone to Dominica for like a nice, lovely, resetting vacation, we haven't had Therapy Thursday for a few weeks. But I hope you enjoyed therapy. And if you did, let me know in the chat. I am going to be doing some things with those pictures and the videos I took, and I hope you will enjoy them. So today, I thought that our group of Trauma Transformers Tribe, we're only women. And you know how women have a way of sitting together. We sit in groups and we talk about men. We'll do this, like we swear we know everything about men. Meanwhile, we're still struggling a lot in our relationships. So I have decided to combine Therapy Thursday as we did in our tribe, and also share this on my personal page and my YouTube page, because I'd love to hear some feedback from the men. I'd love to hear the guys, what you all think when you hear some of this discussion. So tonight's topic is weight, sexuality, and romantic relationships. Weight, sexuality, and romantic relationships. Okay. I think I got interested in exploring this topic because I ran across a video of YouTuber, podcaster Kevin Samuels. And if you're not familiar with Kevin Samuels, he's a very, I would say he's very outspoken. He doesn't put water in his mouth to speak, which is the Dominican phrase that says he goes straight to the heart of the matter and gives his personal opinion. And here's the thing, all of us have a personal opinion. In the beginning, when I started listening to some of his videos, it was a lot to take in. It was a lot to take in because, again, he's very direct. But understanding what I understand about masculine energy, people with strong masculine energy, I totally get him on that level. And one day I found myself listening to one of his videos where he's talking to a woman, qualified, productive, a successful woman, one, in her career. She was asking for advice about relationships because, according to her, she had several serial relationships, meaning, yes, she dates and she has relationships, but they didn't seem to be lasting. And so he was helping her break it down. And among the factors, if you will allow me to play some of that video. Well, I won't be playing the video, but I'll see if you can hear it on the audio. Okay, I'm still figuring out my StreamYard video streaming. So I do want to share this with you so that you can hear what I'm talking about. So, with more education, more money, and easier times. Let me know in the chat if you can hear. Talk some more. As if. So this is him kind of setting it up. He just finished with the previous caller. You running a platform? No. No, thank you. No, thank you. If it's that important, if you need to talk to me that bad, book a time. Hi.
How are you doing?
Good. I need you to be steady.
Oh, okay. Let me get my ring light. I'm shocked that you even let me on. So that's a blessing in itself.
I go down the line. What do you got for me?
So what is the question for tonight? I kind of like tapped in at the last minute of hearing the other young
women. Do you guys see your own behavior?
I think so. I think we definitely do.
So his question to the woman is, do you women see your own behavior? And she says, yes, I think so.
It's just about what you're willing to deal with and what you're not willing to deal with.
What do you mean?
In life, I think that there are certain things that society has kind of played a role in what
society ain't got nothing to do with how you choose to act. How old are you, by the way?
I'm 28.
28 years old.
So this 28-year-old lady says, well, she thinks that society has a role to play in how women act. And he's like, society has nothing to do with it.
You say my women see their own behavior. Then why y'all acting the way y'all act?
Social media.
Social media ain't got nothing to do with whether or not you decide to smile at a man.
That's true.
You notice, what did I say on two broadcasts ago? Kind of kryptonite to modern women. Blah, blah, blah.
He says, in his view, accountability is like kryptonite to modern women, suggesting that women of our age don't like to take correction. We say things, but we don't necessarily follow through. We have expectations of other people, but not always of ourselves. And when we get called out, we like that.
Ain't my problem. Social media is society.
Okay.
Really? Black women really become this lacking in accountability?
What do you feel like has made us be the way that we are, or I guess like in a negative connotation or a negative way?
I'm asking questions. My thing is where you?
Okay, wait. Okay. All right, so that tickled me, right? So she says, well, hey, what do you think? I mean, she suggested that social media might be influencing the modern woman's the way she approaches life, and then her other suggestion was the society. He said, don't be asking me any questions.
People from what state?
North Carolina. My mother is from New Jersey, and my father's from North Carolina.
So if you went back to your grandmother, your great-grandmother, your great-great-grandmother, were those women made of stronger stuff than today's modern woman?
Oh, definitely.
What do you think?
They had less education, less money, harder times.
True.
So why are we getting what we get? With more education, money, and easier times.
When you say what do you all get, you mean as far as men? What do you all get?
Yes. Yeah. Are you married?
Ladies and guys, do you think women are taking their men for granted? Do you think we're taking our men for granted? He says, if your grandmother and your great-grandmothers with less education, with less resources, are somehow finding ways to maintain their relationships, maintain their homes, what's up with the modern lady today who has more resources?
I'm not.
Okay. Ever been married?
No.
You want to be married?
Definitely.
Want children?
I do.
Any children already?
No.
How tall are you?
5'1".
Best size?
8.
What you weighed last time you weighed yourself?
150.
You got a very full face for a size 8.
Thank you.
Okay.
Yeah, looking at you.
Oh, ouch, y'all. She says she's a size 8 and she weighs 150 pounds. He says like this. He says, you got a very full face for 150 pounds. No, he continues to drill in.
on camera. I'm looking at your Instagram. That ain't no dress size 8.
You don't think so?
Man, I'm an image consultant. You're a bit of a 12. Don't lie to me. I'm looking right here.
Okay.
So why not just be honest? See what I mean? You'll get online and just tell me I don't see what I see.
Okay.
So he tells her directly, "You're lying to me. I'm an image consultant, and I know by the size of your face, you look like a 12. Don't tell me you're an 8."
I haven't been. Okay, go ahead.
I mean, I'm going to say that you get online and you act like I don't see what I see, and I'm like, well, wait a minute. Everybody see.
No, I was going to say I haven't been fitted for a dress in a minute, so I may be wrong.
Man.
Yes.
When was the last time you weighed yourself?
A few weeks ago. But I have been working out. Can you give me that?
No.
I have been working out. You give me
that? Nothing without no kids or no husband. I can't give you that. You should be able to put 110 pounds.
He says at 28, she should be 110 pounds. So, like, I really want to know if that's reasonable, because that's 110 pounds. When I was, the last time I was 110 pounds, I was 21 years old. I suppose she says she's 28 and she has no kids and she's unmarried. He says that's too much, honey. He says 110.
That's what your grandma was, your great grandma was, before they had this.
Okay, so the man says to the lady to her face, he says, before Black women or women had grits, rice, potatoes, and gravy, they were 110 pounds. Okay, so or diet really at this juncture is a lot.
My point is, women show the men of the world what you think you deserve by your attitude and your appearance.
Okay.
So, a woman who wants to be married, wants kids, and you're saying that the behavior and everything else that women have today is not their responsibility, it's society, it's social media.
No. It is our responsibility, but I thought you was asking, do I feel like has conformed or made that shift within us? I do think that it is our own responsibility, and we have to look at ourselves and say,
what happened before 1990? What happened before 2000? Social
media. It wasn't really prevalent.
Shit, if it wasn't, go back to the movies of the 90s.
Okay.
What's love got to do with it? Wedding takes hell. I don't want no scrubs. I mean, are you kidding?
The question I have is, as women, are we wanting too much but not willing to come to the table with like equity, you know, like with a balance, with a match? So are we wanting more than we're coming to relationship tables with? And I'm gonna explore this a little bit more, and I really hope I get some of your feedback, because this is serious. And I've talked about relationships before, and the value of long-term, committed, successful romantic relationships, because in particular, if you haven't had your kids, or if you're trying to raise kids, I don't care what anybody says, the most efficient way we have right now is in a two productive adults setting, you know? In my opinion, preferably in a setting where you can have kids who can experience both feminine and masculine energy. When I say that because every human being or soul is both masculine and feminine, but biology, socialization, education, religion, many of us have been socialized to lead with one energy or the other. even if logically I'm female, I could lead with my masculine energy in my relationship. As a successful woman, we lean into our masculine energy because that's where you've got your go, 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 go. I want, I'm creating, I'm making, I'm succeeding. And that's the do, 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 do energy. The thing is, in romantic relationships, because you now have another human being you're working with, right? You're navigating that. And for the most part, for many of us, we're navigating that with biological males, men who are born with testosterone and who are socialized to lead with their masculine energy. When you, a female human being who has been potentially also socialized to be now, some of us are socialized to be masculine energy leading, although biologically and socially, there's more of a push towards us. It's easier. It's less, and I'm talking in generalizations. But if you're born with a body that is producing estrogen, you're more likely to lead with feminine energy. The caveat is when we get trained in households where sometimes I think our families even mean to. Sometimes, depending on the circumstances that you grow up in, some people don't have that visual model of strong masculine energy. So you don't really know what that looks like. For many of us, you grow up in families where your mother is having to lead with both, and it's confusing because it's not clear. The picture is not clear about how to present in romantic relationships. And again, it's a valuable thing as a feminine person, as a female human being, to lead with masculine if you're working, if you're competing. But if you're trying to bring that energy in a romantic relationship, you're going to have trouble because now you're competing against a biological male whose brain is set to conquer and control and compete. Such as love you, if you come fighting and trying to duke it out, you're more likely to lose if you're coming leading with your feminine. So, like, one of the reasons that I find Kevin Samuels fascinating is because a lot of what he says lines up with who, for me, has become one of my biggest teachers on relationships. And on an issue like weight, her position would be, and her name is Dr. Pat Allen, her position would be that the masculine energy leading person in the relationship to pick. I mean, that's what many of us ascribe to. If you grow up in a Christian household or many of the other religions, they say a man findeth a wife, yeah? Or again, suggesting the masculine is the picker, the hunter, the one who decides. The feminine energy says yes or no, or accepts or rejects, but the picker is generally masculine. So I really vibe a lot of what he says. Again, the feminine in me would feel so much better if he said it in a gentler way or in a less way. The thing is, though, when you look at it on the other hand, many people don't take correction well. And many of us have been socialized to fight, which is masculine. So you hear a lot of the ladies on the calls. I'm like, number one, why are you even subjecting yourself to a call where you know it kind of goes sideways for you because he's not going to be kowtowing to your way, and then you don't want to take the advice that you call in for. So when it comes to the weight issue, Dr. Allen would say the masculine person in the relationship has every right to say what they want. And if they want a lady or a partner who weighs 110 and they're at whatever age, they have a right to choose that. The thing is, because of the way we're eating, because of our habits, we've become more sedentary, maybe become more accepting too over the past few years of weighing more. Clothes are women. I mean, they're making clothes these days that feel more comfortable for us. There's a lot more spandex, there's a lot more elastic that makes it more comfortable as a larger woman to wear cute clothes. So there's less like, oh my God, I must go to the gym, to your weight, especially for aesthetic reasons, So I think there are several factors that have contributed to the women paying less attention to maintaining their weight at a certain level. Okay, so let me listen to a little bit more of him.
But you guys are under nobody's control or authority or leadership. You're free to do whatever you want.
Well, I will say this. I do watch your show. Have watched it for a while now, and
How long's a while? Sorry.
Oh, at least for the past 2 months, I've been prevalently watching your show. I don't watch it every single time you get on here because I do have other things that I do partake in, but I do avidly watch it at least weekly.
Okay.
I would like to kind of get your expertise or thoughts on a couple of things because I do feel as if you're very about some things that you may be able to help me with. Based on your show, I have kind of looked at how I come across because I am strong. I'm a lead woman. And
what does that mean?
I think that we're strong and great.
This to be a bitch.
Woo! No, I'm not.
Yeah, no, calling yourself a Leo woman is an excuse to be a bitch. That's what it is.
Y'all heard that? So she says, yeah, and you hear the pride in her voice, which I am completely with her on that. She's a strong Leo woman. She's used to making things happen. I love that trait in me that's allowed me myself to succeed in many areas of life. So I get where she's coming from. He says women who say they're Leo and strong, that's an excuse for them to be a bitch. He was like, ah! Because like I said, he does not pull any punches.
I am the only child.
Well, that probably has a lot more to do with it.
There's another factor. She's an only child. Hey, Kangwate. I'll tell you in a minute, Kangwate.
Looking to move in July to either Atlanta or Houston. 28.
So Kangwate, what I'm doing is I'm living, and I want to get into that. I want to get into, is this an American thing or is this an all-world thing? Because I grew up in Dominica and I don't know that I experienced that growing up, where your weight was determined from a quote-unquote high value man. And I suppose when he's talking about high value, he's talking about a man who's able to provide properly, has his own business, works, and prays and looks good and takes care of his body as well. But even with that, I don't remember, I don't have an equivalent in Dominica, and I cannot speak for all the Caribbean islands, but I'd love if you all would tell me, is that a new thing? Do you see that, in the Caribbean, in Dominica, or is this simply an American thing? And my thing would be, if that's the case, the sisters in America need to be looking to explore other cultures if finding a mate is such a challenge here. If finding a mate is such a challenge because men here are saying, you weigh too much for me. Perhaps you're in the wrong place. Kangwate serious, like I am like flabbergasted by that, but not by the idea that you're too heavy to get a good man. But the thing is, the American culture is a completely different culture than Caribbean culture. And one of my questions is, where does that leave women? Where does that leave American women? And for women from other parts of the world, what is it like? What is it like for you? What is it like, the weight issue for you? That's what I'm talking about. So in Dominica, the men like us thick. Yeah. What is that? Thickers, that word thickers, they don't like us overweight, but they like us pleasantly plump in Dominica. And I'm not going to say the whole Caribbean because I don't know. I didn't grow up in other Caribbean countries and I don't know that culture. They like us thick and curvy in the right, places. And that is so interesting, Kangwate, because I myself am not familiar with weight discrimination by men in Dominica, in the Caribbean. And, I do find myself feeling, like I wonder if this is also just personal taste. This is like just carte blanche, right? But then it cannot be carte blanche because he's actually saying the so-called high value men are not running for the heavier women. And that is true in the US. That is true. It's not true everywhere. It's just not true everywhere. It is just not true everywhere. One of my intentions with this video is to, I told my son that I'm going to be leaving some nuggets for him when I start doing my videos. So I suppose if I had to tell him something, I would say, yo, man, you have a right. Everybody, like your brain is wired, how it's wired. There are many men, even here in the US, who love thick women. That's what they like. That's what their brain is attracted to. So one of the things I don't agree with him on is the way that he makes it seem like it's a generalized, that's the reason. I don't think that that's in and of itself is the reason. And if it was the reason, my advice to the quote unquote strong woman in America is to explore your options elsewhere where you are valued versus where you have to work like a dog to sort of meet some expectation. Because even the doing to become more presentable or be more likable or whatever is masculine energy. So that is actually asking women here to tap into their masculine energy, which is more do. You have to do something to prove yourself versus be who you are, be your sweetness. Again, like as a mom advising a son, I would say, son, you have a right to like what you like. You don't have to like what everybody else likes. And if you have done the work, if you've done the work to where you can classify yourself as a high value man, you have every right to like who you like, even if that person is a little thicker or heavier, as opposed to just going by what you hear other people say. Because again, there are cultures where that is valued versus just the way that he talks, again, because he's so direct, it can come off as really like a knife. And you got to be pretty okay with somebody else just listening to your words and making determinations about you and deciding who you are or what you will get or what you will become based on a 10-minute conversation. But In general, I tell you, like this man, his videos get so many uh, views, maybe because it is so, some people would say controversial, but I think also because, like, because of the way he speaks and he communicates. Look, sometimes he's liable to say something that feels like what's wrong with skin. So Kangwate, like I am with you when it comes to Dominica and men. Perhaps in African countries, like we have that more, where weight is not what America's overweight is not the same thing everywhere in the world. So for the sisters over here who are not crazy losing any of their thickness, but want to be partnered with high value men, I would encourage you to explore other cultures where, if you're looking for a black man, there's so many countries in the world with black, strong, high performing men who that is not a requirement. But if your intention is to date in your culture where you might be facing that, then you've got to uh, shape up. You got to shape up if you want a high value man. Okay. So yeah, so that is my little commentary on the weight thing. Of course, weight, maintaining a healthy weight is a value. I think that's a good thing. I think personally, when I get to a certain weight, I'm like, okay, you've got to start going back down because you don't want to cross over a certain threshold. But the idea that I have to go back to being like how I looked at, when I was in my 30s, I don't feel good about that. I don't feel good about weighing 120. I, I don't know. I think that's going a little too far. But yeah, it does impact romance because, again, depending on who you're with, if your person has a certain preference, I believe you've got to do both people in the relationship have a responsibility to make adjustments. Make adjustments within reason, within reason, to keep the other person attracted to you. For us women, the babies come, like that's almost an automatic thickening, of the body. And it's such work to whittle that weight down. I don't care what anybody says. With the amount of exercise I've done in my life, Annie, I have never gone back to my pre-pregnancy weight. And I don't mind it because I actually love my body a little curvier than how I used to be. I used to be like just very muscular and very slender. Um, but I actually enjoy my body curvier. And my fiance does too. So, look, perhaps it's about finding the person that fits, that fits you, especially when it comes to this, because this is a lot of work, changing yourself if you're not on board for changing. If this is not your idea to change, I don't know that people ought to be shamed into changing who they are, or, there are many other ways to do it. Perhaps, too, some of the men might need to help their partners to lose weight. You want me to a certain way? Well, perhaps that's not so easy for me to do alone. Well, how about you come with me? Or how about you encourage me? Or how about you get me a gym membership if you want me to look a certain way? I don't think that's any different than a man who says, I prefer my woman with a little makeup, without makeup. Many of us will make those adjustments when we love our partners or when we want to please them or be more attractive for them. As for Mr. Samuels, I think, again, that a lot of what he's saying, even though it's off as really like intense, I think he's on point on a lot of things. Again, his delivery might be unique, but if you are bold enough to call him up, you have to be bold enough to take what he's offering you. Okay, and again, some of us need that kind of vinegar. We need that kind of medicine to make adjustments. Whereas some people might need some stroking, some people need the ouch. Okay. So yeah, so this is my little piece on weight and romance. I think it's completely up to you and the person that you say yes to as a woman, or the person that you choose as a man, or as a masculine energy leading person. Because again, stronger women, I have no issue with them leading and chasing, as long as they are okay with a more feminine energy leading man, meaning he's a little softer, and you might get really tired of him. You might be fussing at him in a few months, telling him he's a wuss. So, perhaps clarifying what we want for ourselves. I also wonder too if men might not be too quiet. Like some men, I don't know if men are very clear with women in asking for what they want from us. Some men are good at that, maybe too good, like they're too dominant, but I think a lot of men maybe don't say clearly enough what they are more attracted to when they're talking to us directly. So maybe that's some communication issues that could be worked on, where we talk more and become more vulnerable, with asking for what we prefer. Everybody has a right to prefer what they prefer. You are who you are. You like what you like. And it's your job, I think, as a feminine person to say, that doesn't feel good for me. The idea of being in the gym every day doesn't feel good for me. Or, you know what, I can deal with that. I can do that, And to then, like as a team, like just kind of work together if you're already in the relationship. And for those who are trying, if you're trying and if you're just on the market looking, that's a different thing, because again, for most of us in our culture, we wait to be picked. So if you're waiting to be picked and you're not getting picked on the market where you're presenting yourself, perhaps you need to present yourself in a different market. Okay? In a different market. Some music does well in the US, some does, music, they do well elsewhere. So as a woman, I think it's your responsibility to figure out, where's my type? Where's the person? Okay. And place yourself where you will be valued versus where you will be made to feel somehow less than or not good enough. I am just like that. That is no place to start. Starting from a position of not good enough, where all I am is my weight. What about the rest of me? That would be my position, right? That would be where I think many of us women are. We get to arguing. We're like, you better love me for me. Love me as I am. Yeah, but if you're not the one picking, what are you going to do? You're going to force a person to take you as you are? No, nor should they. They have a right to like 110 if that's what they want. Your job, though, is to go looking to a different market where you are already valuable, or be willing to do the work. Okay. So I want to wish you all a happy Thursday. I'm glad to be back. I'm so happy to all of you who tuned in and joined me and the kids in our travel therapy. They are doing well. I will talk to you all next Thursday. Peace.